I don't know. It says it's recording. I'll give it some dead air so it's easier for me to find. Yeah, boy, it's Movember 24th, and it's episode 131, and this is a Fantasy Football Auctioneer. I'm your host, Uncle Buckets. The Fantasy Football Auctioneer is the official podcast of thefantasyfootballauction.com, the internet's only website dedicated to fantasy football auctions. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fantasy football auctioneer, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Fantasy Auction. We've got a great show for you tonight. It's week 12, only a couple of weeks away from the playoffs. Question is, are you ready? Do you need this week? Do you need a win this week? Tonight we're going to talk all things to help you out for week 12. We're going to talk some player news, injuries, waiver wire moves, and of course, we'll get into a little bit of this week's This is the Man later on in the show. Blister's away tonight, so it's just me and Slim. So I thought we would try something brand new. I saw this on Mashable, Slim. The quote was, quote unquote, bleeding edge social media called blab.im. So we were one of the first fantasy football podcasts to go live on Google Hangouts and stream to the YouTube channel. So Slim, I thought we'd push the old envelope again and try this blab.im. So Slim, what do you think so far?
So far, I like it. I like the interaction that you can get, and just all the messages are live. It's all right in front of you. You don't have to click anything else to bring them up. So it's pretty sweet so far.
All right, and shout out to Evan for helping us get this thing set up at the front end of things. Just kind of popped into our pod here. I don't know if he necessarily understands or knows who we were ahead of time, or was just scrolling through Blab and found us. But he had a good fantasy football question already about Jordan Matthews. So thanks to Evan for that. And next week we'll try to do this again with Blister on. It interacts really well with Twitter and with Facebook. It's got a chat room that's live in here. You can ask questions and post those live as well. So hopefully this will be a better format for us as we move forward, and we continue to move forward in, I guess our fancy technology, hey, Slim?
Well, it's what they pay you to do, right?
I get paid the big bucks, and I test everything.
Find this new stuff.
Yeah, I test all of it on the fantasy football, then I bring it back and work it in the classroom. So should be good. I don't know how we'd use this in the classroom, but I know definitely when I saw this was all about us and our podcast. So I did see it originally from Steve Dotto from Old School Tech TV. So he introduced it at a big tech conference. And so we've been trying for a couple of weeks to get here, and finally we're here. So I'm excited for it. So hopefully the pod at the tail end, sound quality and everything's pretty good as I splice it up and throw it out onto iTunes. So Slim, let's get things in. Let's get this rolling then. If you guys are ready, then I'm ready. Let's cock the hammer. It's time for action. So like I said before, we got a good show for you tonight. It's going to be all about week 12. We're trying Blab FM, and so we'll see if those things work out for us there. Hopefully Twitter questions will just come live during the pod here, Slim, because we don't have anything posted just yet, but we didn't do a whole lot of front-end advertising either, hey? And I froze? Am I still here? Evan, I'm here. All right, good. So we lost Slim. He said I froze. It must have been him that was freezing. So I'm just going to keep things rolling here because we are live for the podcast anyways. So normally segment number 1 is we just got a letter where we have Twitter questions and email questions come in, and we answer them. I'm just texting Slim back to tell him he's gone because he thinks I'm gone. So we're just we normally get Twitter questions and email questions here on we just got a letter, but we hopefully are going to get some of those live. So we're going to go into the second one here, which is a fantasy football news, buy or sell. Slim is back. So we're just rolling into the fantasy football news, buy or sell. In this segment, this is when we take a look at fantasy football news headlines and we buy or sell the implications of said headlines. So, Slim, I don't know if you had much of an opportunity to look at them ahead of time, but that's okay. You don't normally, do you? All right, good. All right, I just actually was hoping to test your mic there, and it worked too, so that's good. All right, so Slim, first one, then you're going to get all of them tonight because normally we go back and forth with Blister. So tonight, the first one is going to you, and the last one will be to you. First headline is Peyton Manning to miss at least 2 more weeks. So the Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning is expected to miss at least the next 2 weeks as he continues to recover from his plantar fascia tear. So Slim, I mean, but without getting too deep into the actual news article itself, buy or sell. This is actually better for all things Broncos and fantasy football.
I guess I'll buy it. I don't know if it's vastly better, if that's the right context, but I think it's slightly better. I don't think Osweiler is going to make Demaryius Thomas, a weekly wide receiver 1 again, overall wide receiver 1, that he might have been, or that he was, a couple years ago with Peyton Manning behind the helm. But I think at least it does involve, the wide receivers should be, they don't really drop off, if anything. At least the last couple games before Manning was pulled, I think this should allow them to score slightly more points. I mean, let's face it, I think they have other issues on offense, not just the quarterback play. I mean, the running backs have underperformed. Yeah. The offensive line's been a work in progress. The tight ends have been nothing really to write home about. Emmanuel Sanders has been banged up, but I think it just kind of keeps chugging with what they were doing a couple weeks ago. And I guess that's a good thing. I mean, most times a back quarterback comes in and you expect a downtick, so at least, you can expect the status quo with what they've been doing this year. All
right. Let's move on to headline number 2. Willie Snead is feeling, quote-unquote, amazing after the bye week. So count rookie receiver Willie Snead among the New Orleans Saints wide receivers and players, to feel refreshed this week after the bye. Snead had dealt with a knee issue that limited him in practices before their most recent game, November 15th. So he's saying he feels amazing. He feels really good, and he'll be ready to go on Sunday. So Slim, I was going to say Blister. Slim, Snead is a solid wide receiver to play this week.
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't gotten a chance to finish my rankings yet, and I don't typically put guys in them unless I'm positive that he's going to play, so I haven't even penciled him in. I just want to look here quick, double check who they're playing, but who are they playing this week, Bex? Do you know? You've got Snead in the
Dynasty. I do have them. They're at Houston.
As a wide receiver too, then I think he'd be a low-end wide receiver too if I plug him in. I mean, I think I like him more than someone like Stefan Diggs this week, who is a low-end wide receiver too for me. I mean, the matchup isn't. I mean, Houston's pretty solid against the pass. The 4-4 has them ranked as the 10th best in fantasy adjusted scoring, but I think there should be a fair amount of opportunity, and I like, he's definitely a solid touchdown scoring threat. He's been good for about 1 a game lately, so I don't see why he couldn't be a wide receiver 2 this week. I like that.
All right, let's move on to another injury-laden team here, and guys.
Yeah.
Take a look at, it's getting to be trouble. Hey, Danny Amendola with the knee sprain is not expected to miss extended time. So after losing key players in back-to-back weeks, New England Patriots can exhale on Tuesday afternoon, which is today when we're recording the podcast. This is according to masslive.com. Danny Amendola's knee injury won't side him for an extended period. He did suffer the knee injury. His availability for Sunday night showdown in Denver will be dependent on how he responds to treatment and how much his workload increases throughout the week. Third year wide receiver Aaron Dobson left with the ankle injury too. So there's a lot of banged up guys on that offense in New England. So Slim, buy or sell. The Patriots equal ouch. This equals Gronk smash hard this week.
I'm going to sell it actually, because I think if Amendola's out, and even if he's in it, I still think defense, as we saw it with Buffalo, they keyed on Gronk pretty hard, and it looked like they were willing to do whatever they had to not let him have a big game. And I think that'll be a common formula that we're going to see. Right now, the Patriots don't have much. Even with Amendola in there, he's not really ever capable of beating a team.
Yeah.
He can rack up targets and rack up receptions. Typically not the greatest as far as yards after the catch. I mean, he would have had a huge touchdown last night had the refs not botched that call with an inadvertent whistle, but by the looks of it anyway. But
yeah, well, I was only listening to it on Sirius. I didn't get to see it, but I've blown an inadvertent whistle, so I know what that is on the other side. Not an NFL game, I may add.
Well, that would have been saying something, yeah. But so yeah, I mean, I just think defenses are really going to key on Gronk, and they should. I mean, he's their best playmaker that they have, and you want to make Brandon LaFell and maybe Danny Amendola. I have a feeling Amendola doesn't play this week. That's just a hunch right now. I know there's a chance he could. I don't know. It's just knee sprain. I feel like he might miss this week, but it doesn't sound like much more than that if he misses one. But so yeah, I paid up to get Gronk in every DFS lineup I played this weekend. I think didn't work out so well. So I'm gonna have a hard time doing that, I think, going forward here for at least the next couple weeks. All
right, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they coach this up now with so many guys banged up and the running game not doing necessarily what it's supposed to be doing there either, right?
Yeah, I mean, last night was a tough matchup. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Buffalo's defense is pretty solid. So I don't know what we can necessarily take going the rest of the way, but we'll see. I don't know. I know there's a tough matchup this week though too. So against Denver. So
yeah, tough D.
I wouldn't expect huge things from the running game again this week.
All right. Well, speaking of running games, let's take a look at Chicago's running game. Matt Forte is expected to play in Week 12, and Alshon Jeffrey is hopeful. This is according to the Chicago Tribune. So they say lock it in. The Bears running back Matt Forte will be back in action Thursday night in Green Bay. This after returning from a 3-game absence caused by an MCL sprain in his right knee. Now, Alshon is also hopeful that he'll be back to see the Packers on Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, I may add. So he's going to be a go-to. So we'll go back to the Forte stuff here. Slim, buy or sell. This is going to be a running back by committee situation, which is crappy for fantasy owners, seeing as Langford did so well. And notice I didn't mention anything about Alshon in that buy or sell, Slim, because he's just killing me as an owner right now. So buy or sell, running back by committee, crappy for fantasy owners.
Well, I definitely buy that it's crappy for fantasy owners if that's the route they go. I'm not sold that they'll go that route. I mean, we saw with Langford even this week, or just this week, that he didn't have a great game rushing the ball. He did all of his damage, or the vast majority of it, through the air. So I don't just think that they're just going to come in and just all of a sudden timeshare. I think Forte is going to get his shots, obviously. If he doesn't do much with them, then I think Langford will have a bigger share of the game script as the game progresses. But I'm reluctant to say right now that they're just going to all of a sudden go to a running back by committee. I think that Langford definitely, though, is going to get more touches than he was getting before this Forte injury. So whether they go 70-30 or something like that, that could very well be, especially the first game coming back for Forte. They might not want to just throw him
30
all
touches
in. They're coming off a knee injury. He's older. So, yeah, I think Langford's still going to have some value, especially this week. But again, like Forte is a phenomenal running back. Yeah. So I don't think they're just going to say, okay, well, we're going to take 10 touches away from you. I don't think that's necessarily a smart thing. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. So I'm going to sell that they actually do this running back by committee, but I'll buy that it sucks.
Okay. Speaking of sucks, Johnny Manziel may lose his starting job, not because it sucks that he's losing it, but just how he may lose it. So according to Fox Sports, Johnny Manziel may have partied his way out of a starting job. So the Browns coaching staff is disappointed with Manziel's off-field behavior and will not guarantee that he will play Monday night against Baltimore. So after Manziel has promised to not embarrass the Browns during their bye week, a video and photos of him partying in Texas last weekend have surfaced, and the Browns organization has seen the video, spoken with Manziel, who, as a reminder, spent 70 days in the offseason in a rehab facility specializing in treatment for alcohol and drug addiction. Needless to say, the Browns are disappointed, and they are being quoted as saying it's disappointing and frustrating. So, Slim, buy or sell? Who cares? It's just the Browns.
I'm going to sell it, actually. I mean, Travis Benjamin, was a very serviceable wide receiver. Obviously, Gary Barnidge. So it's not like they didn't have anything there. I mean, it sucks for Browns fans because I just feel like these kinds of things always seem to happen to them, no matter what. And I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite because probably when I was Johnny Manziel's age, I would be very tempted to do some of the same things that he's doing. Going to a club or something like that on your bye week when I'm 22. That seems like something I would probably want to be doing. Yeah. But at the same time, you just feel like, when is this guy going to get it? He's not an average 22-year-old. You're the face of a multi-million-dollar company in essence, and this you kind of have to. You're held to a different standard than every other 22-year-old. So, right. I don't know. I think it is a big deal because I think it shows that he'll never be fantasy relevant for long stretches, because eventually, if he keeps this up and it shows like he doesn't seem to care, he's going to play himself out of the league, and then that's the end of that. So it's unfortunate that this stuff keeps kind of happening, and you just hope that he kind of learns from it, because there is some potential there, I think, with him. So I don't like seeing guys waste it like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, and I just love, don't worry about it, I won't embarrass you over the bye week. And then, he's got to know he's a celebrity. He can't go anywhere, and a mic and a camera is not going to be on him, right?
TMZ probably follows him around 24/7, waiting for things like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good. Good television, good internet, good radio, good everything. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to something else that could be good news for fantasy owners. Devonta Freeman is quote unquote off to a good start in the concussion protocol. This is according to ESPN. So Falcons coach Dan Quinn said that Freeman is going through the concussion protocol, and that Freeman's status for Sunday's game, and Freeman's status for Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings remains in limbo. So he was diagnosed with a concussion, and he's going through the protocol. Quinn says they don't really have a whole lot more to go on other than that. I do like the quote here. He's a competitor. Well, that doesn't mean you get through the concussion protocol faster, but he is very important to their team and to my team's, Slim. So buy or sell. Freeman knows that I own him in our Dynasty League, and I need him, so he will play just for me. I'm begging more so than anything.
I'm going to buy that he will play. He's another one that killed me in DFS.
He doesn't know that he's on my Dynasty?
Yeah, no, I'll sell that he doesn't know that. Or I'll buy that he doesn't know that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, I like when guys are going through the protocol and clearing stages this early in the week. To me, that's a good sign. Always has been.
We said it with Teddy B last week,
exactly.
Right? And he showed up.
And he was there. So,
or you said it.
I think that Freeman will be the same thing. I think a lot of this will be a little bit of game planning and sportsmanship by the Falcons to be a little bit tight-lipped here, just to mess with the Vikings. But yeah, I do expect him to play. So good on you. Wish you would have done it last week and helped me in my DFS. But
oh, I wish you would have helped me in the dynasty so that the DB trade would have been worthwhile. What a waste. Pick it up and throw it in the garbage.
Well, I offered him back to you, so.
Yeah, I know. I saw that come through.
I figured that's what you wanted to do, but.
Yeah, but mad. Anyways, it's going to be tight now. I feel like I'm the Falcons, and I've said that before, but my true colors are showing up here, so.
Well, hey, good news is McCown's back, so maybe that'll get Barnage just pumping out top end, tight end numbers again.
So let's go preseason and say you're going to pick up Gary Barnage on waivers, and you're going to run what we thought was the RB2 in Atlanta, and you're going to run them to the playoffs. It's funny how this game works.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I was pushing for Tevin Coleman all through the preseason, and well,
you could probably go get him now.
Well, I don't know. That guy's tight. The guy's tight.
Well,
the owner's tight.
You got 6 first-rounders. Pretty sure you could work on a deal.
Well, yeah.
There's got to be some common ground there.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Let's go on to the next one here. Back to some rookies. The Bears to open Kevin White's 21-day practice window. And I don't know. I just think it's kind of an interesting thing here because the ChicagoBears.com has reported that the Bears on Tuesday will open Kevin White's 21-day practice window, meaning that they will have 3 weeks to decide whether to move the rookie receiver to their active roster or place him on season-ending IR. So it's interesting here because all of a sudden these Bears are starting to make a little bit of a push here. So, Slim, I'm asking you this, buy or sell? Maybe Kevin White is worth a stash for your playoff run.
Right now, I think I'm going to actually buy it. I mean, to me, there's 2 ways to look at this. Either the Bears, Kevin White is close to coming back, legitimately, and they're going to want to get him on the field just to see what they have in the rookie and get him some reps. I mean, I really feel like as a rookie, especially a wide receiver, to miss your rookie year, that's a huge setback.
Right. So he's freezing up on me there, Slim. Yeah, no, it is a huge setback, and especially when you have high expectations, and we're looking at these rookie wide receivers who are having these unbelievable breakout years and how they help out. I see Jose's in here. I'm going to let you come in. It's our first time doing things here live on Blab. Jose,
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks, man. We just lost Slim, so how are things going? Are you playing a little bit of fantasy?
I actually am. I'm in, I think, 3 leagues, right now. 2 are just kind of BS and having fun, more for bragging rights, and then I got one that I'm actually playing for there's more like a trophy, a fantasy football ring, a little more incentive there. But I just I know I'm really big Charger fan, but kind of was wondering, as far as the rest of the season goes for the Chargers, I mean, I know their wide receiving core is pretty depleted. I know they have Stevie sign him to a deal, and I think it was multiple years, and he's kind of surfaced now as the number 1 because they lost Keenan Allen and stuff. But do you see his production going up now? I mean, Phillip is having a crazy year on a terrible team, but I just kind of wanted to get your insight about that.
Well, Yeah, well, I mean, and we like Stevie Johnson coming into the season here too. We thought it was a good system and a good setup for him. And I think, overall the three of us from our side anyways have high expectations of him moving forward here. And our ranks aren't quite up for this week and seeing where the guys kind of have them going forward. But we thought it was a good system for him heading in there. He was a guy that we ranked kind of very similar to the same idea as Michael Crabtree's, in a good situation in a high production passing offense. Slim, you're back. Jose's got a question. What do you think about Stevie Johnson moving forward?
Funny, I could hear you guys. Obviously, you guys couldn't see me, but I could hear everything you were saying.
Yeah.
Stevie Johnson going forward. I don't mind the guy, but I'm a little bit freaked out by just how bad and how banged up the Chargers are, and I think they got really exposed last week. The biggest thing is their offensive line kills them, and Phillip Rivers, as good as he is, I really believe he's a top-notch quarterback, but I mean, if any team they go against has pass rush, they're in trouble. They can't get the ball out quick enough, and I just think Stevie Johnson's going to be capped by just how bad overall the offense is, and it starts with the offensive line, essentially.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think I saw a stat that San Diego's offensive line only started 2 games out of this whole season together since opening day, and they only started 1 other game together. And Phillip is on. I mean, he's I think a little over 100 yards behind Brady on the leading passing list for the season. But I thought Keenan Allen was obviously was the number 1, and then Malcolm Floyd being that his last year, and he went out a couple weeks ago. So it's like, now is this Johnson's opportunity to kind of put himself out there as maybe a number 2 or a number 1. I don't think a number 1, not with Keenan Allen, but for sure number 2, being that Malcolm Floyd is retiring at the end of the year, and kind of where they're going with that. I mean, now you have Phillip for 4 more years, I think. Yeah. He just signed this offseason, so.
No, I think in a perfect world, yeah, you would want Stevie. I mean, you think back to his Buffalo days. He was he's a very capable wide receiver, and I still think he is. Keenan Allen was phenomenal, and really has been. Even in his rookie year, he was underrated. But I just obviously I don't think anybody expects him to fill that role. But I think he can be. I just think consistency will be his biggest issue, but I think he can be a wide receiver too in a lot of weeks. And unfortunately, touchdowns are probably going to be the things that he's going to need. And I just don't know how many more touchdowns they'll score this year. And you're right, Phillip Rivers was on fire before, and they were throwing the ball at a record. Like, he was putting up, he had a 2-game stretch, I think at one point I saw a stat where it was the most passes thrown in 2 consecutive games in league history, and it was stupid amount of attempts.
I remember against the Packers, he threw 503 yards, and they still lost the game. I mean, I was just baffled by that. How does he throw, for 500 yards, no interceptions, and I don't know, he threw at least 2 or 3 touchdowns, and you lose the game. I mean, that's just kind of been their whole season. They've held the lead majority of the game, and the last few minutes of the game, their defense just can't hold the other team, and they lose it. And but that's kind of just been their whole season. And I'll be actually in Jacksonville enjoying their game in Jacksonville here this weekend.
Nice.
So I'm hoping obviously for a Charger win, but I'd be more surprised if they won than if they lost. Just how their season's been all year. And
we went and watched them in Minnesota, and that was one of the games where the offensive line just got crushed with injuries. And they got destroyed by the Vikings, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad, and it was.
I figured, hey, the bye week is coming. Just get them away from football and come back, and they put up 3 points against the Chiefs. and just got absolutely. I mean, I don't even know what word would be appropriate to fit in to describe how they lost. I mean, it was terrible. It was. I mean, and like I said, it's just kind of been the story of their whole season, and they don't really even know who to blame. I mean, do you blame the personnel? Do you blame the conditioning coaches, or the head coach? Who do you blame for this all? I mean,
I think a lot of it's fluky, but it's just unfortunate bad luck.
Slim. Sorry, I was just going to say, Slim, Healy and Ashley were there on their honeymoon too and took in the Charger game in San Diego, and I felt bad for the guy who's bought his brand new powder blue to be there at the game, and that's what he got to see.
I mean, this weekend they retired LT's number. They put him into the Ring of Honor, and they put up 3 points. I mean, it wasn't even competitive. I just don't, like I said, it's just that's just been the way their whole season, and it's frustrating to see, all this going on, and Mike McCoy, the coach of the Chargers, is just like, oh, our week of practice and preparation was great, but it just didn't transfer into the game. Well, it's like you got to do something different. Whatever you're doing isn't working, and I don't know. It's just, but anyways,
okay. Well, I mean, and so hopefully Steve Johnson can, I guess going back to the question, can fulfill what we had good expectations of him heading into the season too, and we're hoping that get more points out of him, I guess.
Yeah, and he was one of my biggest buys when Keenan Allen went down. I really thought, I know I tried to acquire him in dynasty leagues and everything. I just thought he was going to be a big part of the offense, and for whatever reason he hasn't been. I don't know. I guess part of it is they try and spread it around, and guys like Danny Woodhead have been a big part and everything like that, but I don't know if it's him physically or just they're not getting him involved, or he's not. I haven't seen too many Chargers games, so I don't know if he can't beat coverage or what's going on.
I haven't seen very many either, just living in Florida, and they don't really show a ton here, but it just they try to spread the ball around, and I understand that. But another guy I was actually wondering about is, I heard a little bit earlier today, is Forte's going? Is he a go this week, or are they still going to do Langford?
We just talked about it in the news item a couple of minutes ago, but it sounds like Forte is going to go, and Slim's hoping that it's not going to be too much of a running back by committee because Forte is wicked.
Yeah. I mean, I even, I was looking, I think in my, one of my leagues, I think they both had them. It's a PPR league, I believe. They had them projected both over 40 points. So I was just wondering, is that just kind of, were they not
points?
40? I'm hoping that's with bonuses, and 40.
That's rushing yards, points per reception, touchdowns. It's
40. We're thinking that it sounds like he's going to be good to go, and like Slim was mentioning just before you got on with us, he was just mentioning that hopefully it's they're not going to take 10 touches away from Forte Haslem, is what we were saying, because he's been super productive.
Yeah.
The injury.
I don't know. I worry that they're going to limit him because it's his first game back. But I think going forward, Forte's not going to lose. I don't think they go to a 50-50 or anything like that. Just because, Forte's shown that he is still an elite running back right now, and I don't think you want to take too many touches away from a guy like that, even though Langford is shown to be serviceable as well. We saw in Kansas City when Charles would get hurt, he'd come back and he'd put Nal Davis or whoever at the time, and sorry, buddy, you're back on the bench, and you can spell him for a series here and there, but I think the majority of the touches still go to Forte. I just worry this week because I don't know how much they're willing to just throw him right out there and say, here you go, here's 90% of the touches right now. But they might want to ease him in a little bit with this knee, but we'll see.
And now, Brock Osweiler seemed to have a great game this week, but going forward now, the rest of the year, I mean, is the ceiling still high, or I mean, are you kind of waiting to see what the rest of the year gives, or?
It's funny, Jose, you should have been around about 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
we
I'm
were just going through.
sorry.
That's okay. We're recording for a podcast right now, and so that we kind of go through all the news items. But so I'm giving them a quick recap, and then we'll move on to the Lynch news
Sure.
and get this thing chugging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not high on. I shouldn't say this, but like to me, Brock Osweiler is kind of going to be like Teddy Bridgewater. He'll give you one game of QB1 and then maybe 2 games of QB2 type stuff, and he's just going to be up and down, kind of like Peyton Manning was when he was under center this year. He might lay an egg one week and the running game might not be there, so that's going to make him have to throw it a few more times this week. But I think he'll be very inconsistent. I think with the depth at the quarterback position, there's going to be lots of other guys that you can play or stream any given week. I don't think he boosts Demaryius Thomas value that much more than what Peyton Manning was giving them, except for the fact that, as our recency bias, we remember Peyton Manning taking a dump against Kansas City and getting pulled. And it wasn't necessarily all that bad this season, even though some of those more recent games were bad. But, if Osweiler can get you a couple touchdowns every game, which might be a little bit of a stretch, but I wouldn't be a fartist to say that he can throw 2 touchdowns a game average, and then he's serviceable. But I wouldn't expect any elite type quarterback production or anything. I'm not putting him in Jameis Winston territory or anything yet for the last few weeks, but so
all right.
Okay, well, thanks, Jose, for coming in. Your first, this is our first time on Blab trying to do our podcast. We're normally a Google Hangouts crew here, so thanks a lot for popping in. And I'm really interested to see what the banter mid podcast sounds like during the pod. So thanks a lot for coming on. Good questions, man.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Easy. All right, Slim. So there you go. There was the first one. We'll just keep chugging because we are still on Fantasy News Buy or Sell. We've got one more news item to go at. So the last one, that's right. Last one here is Marshawn Lynch may not play versus the Steelers. So this is according to ESPN. Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch traveled to Philly on Monday to see a specialist about his abdominal injury, and it is possible that he will have surgery before returning to Seattle. This is as of yesterday, so I don't know if there's been any Twitter news or anything what's going on with Beast Mode, but I love Carol's response to all this. I don't know about the surgery, Carol says. It could happen. I don't know that. There's a possibility. So it seems like things are still really up in the air, but if Lynch does undergo the sports hernia surgery, he'll likely be out for an extended period of time. And so it's up in the air, I guess. So Slim, I guess buy or sell that Thomas Rawls is a legit RB1 this week if Lynch does not go.
For sure, that's a buy. I mean, I want the lead dog in that Seattle offense, pretty much no matter who the running back is right now. And Thomas Rawls has shown that he's more than capable of carrying the load. So, I think going the rest of the way if Lynch is out, and it sounds like he will be. And I think for the rest of our fantasy seasons, pretty much he should be out of the lineup. So it's going to be Thomas Rawls time. And I think he's an RB1 for the rest of the season. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm all in on him.
All right. Awesome. I'm just reading on Mark WPG. I wasn't sure if that's who we were talking to, but the goal ball reference definitely revealed his identity. So we're just commenting on whether or not this is a good format for the pod. So awesome. Oh, he's coming in. Are you ready, Slim?
Oh,
here he comes.
There's this lanky.
His head will be out of the screen here when he comes on, unless he's sitting on like a milking stool or something.
Oh, don't even go there.
Yeah, well, I thought that'd be funny too if Blackie was listening. Mark's trying to get on the air here. He's got a bad bad internet connection in
He's got
the
his
home of the
internet
Grey Cup.
connections like mine.
Home of the Grey Cup from Winnipeg, Manitoba. And he's still trying to come on. Well, we'll wait until he pops in here and see how that goes. His icon is pulsating. He's so excited to get on. Anyways, so that was the end of Fantasy News Buy or Sell. We're going to get into the next one here, which is called Livewire. All right, so on Livewire, it's typically when we talk about waiver wire targets, looking at fab budgets and Slim, I mean, heading into week 12 here, it's getting to be go time as far as your waiver wire moves. And a lot of leagues don't allow the waiver wire moves during the playoffs. So it's time to start planning ahead, hey?
Wow. I mean, yeah, if you should have probably, if your waivers close for playoffs, then you should probably already been planning. But for sure, now's the time. And there's no point sitting on your wallet now.
Sitting on your wallet. Speaking of sitting on your wallet, Mark, how's it going?
Hold on, I'll get up. Oh, no, never mind. I'm not going to get up, man. It's going well.
All right, hey, I was good. I was happy to see you pop in there. Are you a fantasy player?
I'm not.
You're not.
He's just a troll right now. He's trolling social media.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's just we got an insider now. Winnipeg Grey Cup. What's happening in the city this week?
The Grey Cup was actually at West Kildonan Collegiate today, where I used to work last year.
Oh, no kidding.
So if you're trolling social media, there's a bunch of pictures out there with the Grey Cup in the school I used to work at.
Are you heading to the game?
I am not heading to the game. I'm heading north to the homeland where I grew up to see my dad in that play, which has nothing to do with fantasy football either, or the Grey Cup.
I did. I did think that it was pretty cool, Slim. The Nissan free tickets for the high school football players to head to the game.
Yeah, still trying to work out those travel kinks. But how about you guys? Did you guys get tickets too to go to your school, Mark? Are you at elementary now?
I'm in an elementary school, but I know that the West K team did get some tickets from Nissan as well. So, are the Muskies going? Or they're trying to go?
Yeah, there's a lot of kids that initially were all in, and now that's waned a little bit. So I got a empty bus right now that I'm trying to fill. Might try to sneak some parents in. They've been asking.
Well, there you go.
Personally, I don't care who goes as long as they go.
Well, it's a cool. I mean, it's pretty cool that Nissan's setting that up for high school players to be able to go to the CFL championship game. I think that's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Cool opportunity. That's why I told them they should all go, but. Whatever.
Yeah, we know how it is. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're freezing him. He's freezing up again.
You guys are coming through. Oh, Slim's freezing up.
Yeah, there he goes. All right. Well, now you don't even play. You can't even do waiver wire stuff with us here. So hopefully he pops back in and we can get him to do his waiver wire pickups because that's the next segment here, Mark.
That's I'm not very helpful on that end.
All right, so hey, just to get feedback, and I guess you did it here with us tonight. So you're just sitting on Twitter, you saw a retweet come through as Slim kind of gets back on the air here. And so what did you do to get involved with us here tonight?
What did I do to get involved?
Yeah, like how'd you end up on the pod right now as people are listening? What did you do?
I was actually looking for some educational stuff for my job tomorrow, and I saw Uncle Buckets on Twitter, and I wasn't sure what this was, so I was just checked it out, and then I saw Slim, and I thought, oh, this is too good to be true. I got to figure out what's going on here.
So you just click the link and away you go. You popped right into the chat window on the side, and then.
Yeah, I did have to download. I had taken Firefox off my computer. I did have to put Firefox on. It wouldn't run on Safari.
Okay.
Oh, that's good to know.
So it told me I needed Firefox or Chrome, so I downloaded Firefox again, and away we go. When I was chatting initially, I didn't like Firefox was just downloading, so I couldn't see what you were doing. But
okay, so you could chat through via the Safari, but you couldn't get on to the cam.
Correct.
Okay, cool. All right, well, that's good to know. So go.
Once I was on, and then it was, there were the three of you initially, and there's just the big call-in button, and one push, and away. And actually, the reason it took me so long, once I clicked in, I had to give, I couldn't figure it out on Firefox here for a second, but I had to give permission for it to use my camera and microphone.
Right. Okay, cool stuff. This is good. This is one of the reasons why I thought Blab would be a cool way for us to do the pod. And in a few minutes after we stop recording, it just sends me a link to download the audio file, and I can do everything else. But I like the interaction that it will allow for us.
I like it too. It's been kind of neat. You can get actual live questions and stuff. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. So, all right, awesome. So, Mark, if you want to hang around while we're chatting up the waiver wire here, feel free. And if you have 2 cents to pipe in, you can do that too, or you could whatever your little heart desires. My tall, lanky friend.
I'll probably hang up just because I won't have any contribution. But good to see you both, and
yeah, man.
I'll keep an eye out for further chats.
All right, awesome. We'll try to go we go every Tuesday night. This is the first attempt at this, so hopefully we can do this a little bit more often Tuesday nights.
All right, give Gibby a shot for me if you see him too, just for fun.
We
done.
Will. All right, done and done. All right, later, Mark. Thanks.
See you later, buddy.
Bye.
All right, Slim. We once you froze up there, we were just heading into the next segment here. This one's called Livewire. All right, Livewire, targeting waiver wire, fab budgets, all that good stuff. You just had mentioned that you should already have been looking forward to the playoffs in the last week or so. Who are some of the guys you're looking at this week heading into week 12?
Thomas Rawls again. He's my number one guy. If he's out there, I think you spend everything you have to get him. I believe me, I don't think Marshawn Lynch is going to play many games the rest of the way. So, like I said before, I want the lead dog in the Seattle backfield, and that's the guy. So I'm going to drop everything I can if he's available.
All right. And I mean, so you drop everything you can just as a strategy thing here. At least you could have an injury or something coming up. Are you going to, as my mother-in-law would say, shoot the wad here? Or are you going to, do you save a handful of bucks just in case? Not that I'm trying to, I've already put in my bid, just so you know. This isn't me trying to.
I can't get him anyway. He's not available in our league anyway. But, well, I guess it depends on your scoring. I mean, and your team makeup. Bye weeks are over, so really now it's the makeup of your team should be fairly set now. You don't have to worry about anybody having to sit. Injuries could happen for sure. But the predictable things like that bye weeks they're done. So you should be able to really look at who you're going to start the rest of the way. Maybe you've picked up your couple defenses that you're happy with the rest of the way. Maybe, your quarterbacks, you're set there depending on if who you got. But if you don't think you're going to need to really make any more moves, then I'm putting every dollar that I can on a player like this, because this is the guy that could all of a sudden go in as your third, running back, and he's going to be an RB1 the rest of the way. So this is a huge difference maker, and these are the kinds of moves that will win you a championship. And I'm going to roll the dice on a guy like this and versus a tight end too, if I have to. So I'll be happy to keep guys like that on my roster. For example, right now I got Crockett Gilmore and Colby Fleener. It's not the best case scenario on one of my pools, but if I could get Thomas Rolls and I could roll one of those guys the rest of the way, I'll do that 10 times out of 10. So, yeah, that's kind of the way I approach it anyway.
All right. So just as a, I guess, bit of data here too, Thomas Rawls is owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues. So readily available, but I did think that number was higher than expected. No? It's because you never know what the hell is going on.
I mean, he's owned, I think, in all of our leagues. So I guess I would think that should be higher. I mean, this isn't the first time we've heard of this guy either. Like, he's, his name has popped up throughout the last few weeks. So I'm surprised he's still out there that much, but yet not surprised considering some of the people that play.
All right. So Thomas Rawls is one guy you're targeting. Who else are you taking a look at, Slim?
You know what? There's not a lot of other huge names. To me, he's hands down the guy that you're going after. Some kind of lesser guys that you might want to spend a few percent of your initial budget. So if you started with $100, maybe you spend $1, something like that. But Robert Turbin is a guy now in this carousel that is the Dallas backfield. He appears for the time being to be the handcuff there or the backup to McFadden. So I'm gonna take an opportunity on that guy. I know everybody's holding their breath just waiting for McFadden to get hurt.
Especially with all the touches. All the touches.
I can't remember how many touches he had this week. I want to say he had like 39 maybe.
Yeah,
that was the number.
And every time he gets tackled, you just
you do.
Even Hayden looks at me and he's 9 and he looks like, oh, I hope he doesn't get hurt, Dad.
I find that I do the exact same thing. It's so weird. I mean, I don't do it with really anybody else, and I mean, it's kind of stupid in a way, like, that we just expect a guy to get hurt, but that's what we are doing as the public. So it's kind of strange, but another guy, I guess, just to stick with running back, Sean Drone is another guy. Blaine Gabbert being there, not that Kaepernick did anything, they can't pass the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if they shut Carlos Hyde down this season, just because it almost appears like they could very well be tanking. So why would you bring back then one of your best players for a season that you don't even care about? So if this injury to Hyde looks like it could linger or anything like that, or takes its time healing, then I don't see why they would end up rushing him back. So again, another late flyer that you might want to spend $1 or $2 to get.
Owned in 17% of leagues. So the guys looking to spend their cash this week too, right? So,
well, that's it. I mean, and I'll be honest. You mentioned this in most of the leagues we play in. We shut waivers down after the regular season, so it's coming to the end for us in most of our home leagues. So, people are going to spend now, and they should.
And so I guess just saying on that, if things do close up and some guys haven't made, some of the moves you were talking about earlier, what are some setups guys should be doing right now to get themselves ready for their playoff run with a closed waiver? It's like we're talking about, like picking up that second QB or whatever. Like, what are some things if you're going to have a closed waiver? What are some lineups and benches that you need to make sure you have?
Well, I think kind of I always like to have a second defense, unless you're rolling. I mean, and that's dependent too. I mean, if you've got I don't know, St. Louis or something like that, you might feel comfortable just trotting them out there every week. I'm typically a streaming kind of guy, so I'm going to try and load up on a couple that I like the rest of the way. And same with quarterbacks. I mean, I'm always a late round guy, just kind of like yourself. So I'm streaming anyway. Right now I've got in our home auction league, the big one that we do, I've got 3 quarterbacks on my roster, Bortles, Tyrod Taylor, and Mariota, because I liked some of their matchups down the stretch and into the fantasy playoffs. So I kind of, and I did use them throughout the season. I've hung on to them for a while, but I did look ahead to when they would come in handy in the playoffs, and I tried to make sure that I at least had one QB1 option on every given week. So those are the kinds of things I like to do. So those are to me the two biggest positions. I mean, tight end is also a position you can do that with, but
such a crapshoot when you get.
I was going to say, after the top couple guys, it is such a crapshoot that if you're really tight on roster spots, then maybe you're just okay. You feel good just sending Eric Ebron out there every week because you might not be able to find. Well, I know, but even he was a guy that I heard and read in a lot of places being touted as a decent, cheap DFS option. So there you go. I mean, DFS experts thought he was a good play. He wasn't. That just shows the tight end position. It's just it's a crapshoot every week. So, if you're tight on roster spots, maybe you just say, yeah, I'm just going to roll the same guy every week, and I'm going to use this on another quarterback or something. But, you got to really just look at your roster. And are you thin at running back? Is this the week then that you got to go get Sean Drone? Maybe you can get him for cheap, and there you go, you have him. But you have to really be looking closely at your roster and being honest with it and saying, like, how can I add some quality depth? So those are just the easiest positions usually to do it.
Right. Okay. Anything else as far as waivers, Slim, that you want to get on, or do you want to quickly recap this to the man? And
yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not tons. I'm trying to think of some receivers that I had on there. I know Kamar Aiken, a lot of names that we talked about in
same. We've been talking about them for 3 weeks.
And same with the quarterbacks. Like, I've been kind of talking about quarterbacks quite a bit the last few episodes, and part of it is because I guess I was, like I said, I'm a streaming guy. I was looking ahead as well, but the biggest thing is I was streaming quarterbacks all year, so it was a position I was paying attention to a lot, and I think a lot of people were this year because streaming was a fairly common thing, but
and worked.
I mean, Devin Funchess might be a name that kind of coming out of the woodworks now a little bit. Caught a touchdown last week. Should maybe be used a little bit more. But other than that, there's not much, Leonard Hankerson, guys like that. But
Yeah. All right. We just got posted in the chat here the Grey Cup news update on Twitter. So thanks, Mark, for filling us in on that.
Sweet.
Might want to bet on Edmonton. So those of you in the southern states, you heard this from a guy live in Winnipeg. He says you may want to bet on Edmonton if this is an indication, speaking of a status update that he just posted. So keep that in mind. Quick question from Jose in the chat room there too, Slim, before we get to this of the man. Opinion on Palmer's fantasy value down the stretch?
Well, love him, but
huge.
I've loved him all year. I mean, I got him as a top 5 quarterback this week. I mean, even against a tough Cincy defense, look what he did. He's been phenomenal this year, and he was a guy we touted pretty heavily before the season, and I mean, I'll be honest, he's outperformed
for sure
what I thought he would do slightly. So I mean, we've talked about it many times. He was one of the few guys that averages over 20 points a game from the QB position before he got injured, and he's kind of picked up where he left off. A couple times this year, I remember talking to people, and who were they playing? When they played Seattle and they beat them in Seattle. I mean, I haven't seen a quarterback go in there. He looked like a surgeon. He went in there and he literally picked them apart, especially in the first half. They had no answer for him, and he just looked like he is in complete control of this offense. We've seen him make, it's calling card deep passes, but he's just been throwing the ball with precision deep down the field. It's actually kind of enjoyable to watch him play. I'm really happy that I got him in a lot of places this year.
I'm just mad I didn't play. Well, I think I did play him. It was between him and Andy Dalton in a couple of my leagues, and which way to go. And I play, or sorry, not him. Sorry, Carr and Andy Dalton in a couple of leagues, and I went Carr because of the matchup, and that didn't work out for me, and I lost.
I think killer for me too.
Anyways, so do you think Palmer's the QB1 heading down the stretch and through the playoffs here?
Top 5 QB.
Sure.
Rest of the
awesome.
way. Yep.
Any defenses on the waiver before we hit this to the man? Anyone that you might be targeting?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look. Like for this week or?
Well, this I'm going to guess if we've been talking about hitting this week and then also moving forward. So,
you know what? I don't have. I mean, a lot of the main culprits, but I'm trying to think who's out there. It's tough to say. I mean, I'm always a big New England Patriots guy. I just like the way they game plan, so I always try and get them down the stretch because I feel like in a pinch, even if you have a whole bunch of bad matchups, there can still be a serviceable option, at least a top defense for that week. I mean, a lot of the main ones, obviously the Carolinas and all that, but
yeah,
get further down. I mean, Pittsburgh might be one that's not owned. That Buffalo's
okay, here I'll give you some that are under 30% owned, and that's yes or no. So under 30% owned on Yahoo. San Francisco.
No.
Giants.
Yeah, I actually think they're bottom defense one, potentially. The rest of the way.
Indy?
No.
Detroit?
No. Not
Tampa, Oakland, Cleveland, Jacksonville?
Not really, no. I think you could get better off. I mean,
those are like under 10% owned.
Tampa's probably, you're talking middle of the pack there of all the defenses. So if that's the best, I mean, out of the list you mentioned, I think the Giants are the best from that list. But I mean, like, obviously that means like the Broncos are rostered, and Seahawks, Panthers, Chiefs, Rams, Cardinals, all those defenses are rostered. So then after that, it's what's out there, and it's tough. I mean, hopefully you've picked up a couple that you've been playing somewhat consistently, like someone like Cincinnati or something that you use a lot of the time, and so you can just kind of hang on to them and pick your spots in the playoffs and things like that.
All right. And Big E down there, Kansas City, owned in 66% of leagues. So not necessarily under the radar for us because they're owned in more than half the league. So you'd have to throw in probably a decent waiver claim to pick up, a team like that if they are available in your league. But Slim is gone. He's going to come back. He's been bouncing back and forth. We're just going to move quickly here as he's coming back into our last segment of the podcast. This one here is called This is the Man. So in This is the Man, it's a expert versus expert matchup. We take a look at individual players that you may be kind of wavering on, guys who maybe you're slotting in as a flex or a wide receiver 3 or an RB2, those types of things. So when we play This is the Man, we pit expert versus expert in a head-to-head matchup. And our guys go in a season-long competition here. And actually what we've done is on the second half of the season, we've given an opportunity to our listeners and our fans to compete against Slim and Blister, who's not here tonight, in that head-to-head matchup. And if you can outperform Slim and Blister, you get your name entered into a draw for one of 3 free memberships to our auction subscription site because, we're specializing in auction, and that's what we do in the off season and heading into the preseason is auction specific. So if you are interested in trying to put your name in for that draw for the free membership, then head on over to our website, thefantasyfootballauction.com, and click on second half contest. And you'll see there this is the man lineup for this week. Enter in your picks, and we'll see how things go. So Slim is back. Let's just quickly recap what happened last week. Now, I wasn't here last week, but because I posted everything on the website, the boys went in unknowing who was going to be on the list, and they did participate. So let's just quickly recap what happened last week, Slim, and then this week, because Blister isn't here, I'll post it again online and have you guys enter it in that way. And then that way you guys don't know who each other are picking, which actually makes it a little different than when we're live on the air. But also, I know you guys are honest and don't do much prep before. I just mean because I give you two names, bam, and you have to answer now. So that's. I
better pull up my half-assed rankings right now.
Okay, so we won't run through the list this week. I will post it tonight though, so that listeners and you guys, Blister and Slim, can get on to it. And your results will probably be in tomorrow. I'm also thinking, Slim, what do you think about the idea of posting your picks, let's say on Sunday, maybe tweeting it or something, and then that way guys who are competing against you can see who you picked, because I'll close the entries by then. Might be interesting for yet one more little competition type of a thing that guys are doing. So last week we went at the quarterback position, Marcus Mariota at Jacksonville or Ryan Tannehill hosting the Dallas Cowboys. You guys both picked Mariota and were correct. At the running back position, and whoa, this was a real barn burner, Slim. Matt Jones at Carolina or Carlos Williams at New Orleans. Slim takes Matt Jones and Blister took Carlos Williams, and Slim, you got a point there.
Holla.
Matt Jones barely got a point, but you got a point, so that's good. Matt Jones 2.2, Carlos Williams 1.1 in our PPR scoring. Heading into the second running back position, it was Sean Jones at Seattle or CJ Anderson at Chicago. And Drones had himself a good week at 15.7. So you guys both took Drones and scored points there. Our first wide receiver matchup was Dorial Green-Beckham at Jacksonville or Chris Givens hosting St. Louis. Dorial Green-Beckham had 7 points on the day. Slim, you get a point for that one because Blister, he took Givens. At the second wide receiver, you guys were split yet again. Slim taking Doug Baldwin and Blister taking John Brown. Blister scores a point for John Brown, who scored 14.2. This is a good matchup. Doug Baldwin had 12, so they both had decent days. You weren't playing as your wide receiver one, so those are good points for you. At the tight end position, we had Charles Clay versus Jacob Tammy. This was a real barn burner. You guys both took Charles Clay, and by 0.2 of a point, Jacob Tammy comes out on top. So neither of you score a point there. That's the tight end position. Hey,
I know. That's it in a nutshell right there. Yep.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I outscored my opponent by 0.2 of a point, so I win at that position. Anyway, so then at flex, we had Gio Bernard versus Dante Moncrief. Slim, you took Gio. Blister took Dante. Gio, 22.6 PPR points was the winner. So you get another point there. And then at the DST, we had the Bears versus the Falcons. And, Slim, you didn't get a point there because you took the Bears. Blister took the Falcons. So Blister gets a point there. So at the end of the week, Slim got 5, Blister got 4. No one else that competed in the This is the Man competition on our website scored more than 5, and it is that you have to beat the experts. So no entries this week, Slim. On a 5-pack.
All right, boys. On 5.
So, yeah.
Even
5 of 8.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, well. That was a tough week. A lot of wonky scores in the NFL and just game scripts not going the way I think a lot of people thought they would. And
yeah.
2 weeks in a row, kind of like that, actually. But all right, boys, let's flip it around this week.
All right. So I will be posting it on the website tonight, and I'll be sending it out via a newsletter too, so guys can just click the link that way, and I'll tweet it as well. So you just head on over to our website, thefantasyfootballauction.com. Along the top, it says second half contest. You click on that, and you can just enter your picks live right on the website. I shut down the entries at 5 minutes to kickoff on Sunday, actually. So you actually get the Thursday game in. So give you a little bit of a bonus because these guys don't get the Thursday game in before they do their pick. It's worth many high fives. Well, Mark, give me some more high fives from the microphone. If you want to see the full microphone, it's the real deal. It's beauty. Anyways, so you can go to the website and you can join the contest there. And if you can come out on top each week, and you can enter every week, if you can come out on top of the experts, then you get your name entered in for one of 3 free subscriptions to the website. Hopefully we've got Blister in here next week, and then we'll have the full cast. It'll have been 3 weeks. I got look at your picture nose there.
It's a scratch. I'm so glad you said that. Right there. It's the scratch. Come on.
And just so you know, I did catch some grief on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it for not being around last week. The Road Warrior.
Oh, I did see that tweet, yeah.
Giving me a dig, which I didn't like, but that's okay. It's all right. As a host, I'm supposed to be here. So anyways, if you want to support the podcast, you can head over to iTunes or to Stitcher and give us our rankings and subscription and those types of things. Helps us move up the rankings. If you liked this on blab.im, let us know on Twitter too. That would be a cool thing to know. Hopefully this all works out well for us so we can get it online easily tonight. And tweet us questions if you want. @FantasyAuction is the Twitter handle. And are we still at 100% answering questions, Slim?
As far as I know.
Yeah, we're on it. Not
I hit them all.
Yeah, there you go. So, anyways, subscribe to the podcast. Give us a tweet and join the contest. Those are 3 things you can do right now, not only to give yourself a chance at winning, but also to help support the podcast. All right. Slim, that'll about do it. I'm actually at the big house tomorrow, so maybe I'll see you in the hallway.
Oh, you'll see me in the hallway.
Yeah, and we'll hit Gibby too, just for Mark.
I'm giving him a sack punch.
So Gibby's usually listening live on YouTube, so I wonder what he's doing tonight. He must be freaking out that we're not on the air. All right. Well, anyways, guys, that was our first episode on Blab FM. I really like the interactivity, so thanks for everyone who showed up on that, and hopefully we'll have more and more as we head forward. And for the rest of you, I will see you when it's springtime in the Rockies. Leave a little dead air there just in case it does something funny when I click pause.